Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of IBleepingLovePackaging, the podcast about people who bleeping love packaging. And for those who just don't know it yet, today I'm super excited to have the guys from Millrat Studio come on and talk about their Kickstarter that's coming up and their games that they have. They have this really cool multi-pack for their Kickstarter. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves really quick and then kind of how you guys got into making games.
Sure. I'm Nick Federico. I'm from Boston, and I am one of the co-founders of Millrat Studio. I got into making games from just playing a bunch of games and playing a bunch of games that I wasn't too happy with, and I wanted to just kind of either make them better or make my own. And so here we are.
Awesome.
Hey, I'm Adam Corey. I'm the other half of Millrat Studio. I also make games with Nikki, and I got into making games, honestly, from an early age, being obsessed with Magic the Gathering, and then Nikki kind of brought it out again, and we've been doing it for 3 years now.
hmm
That's awesome. So is this your guys' first Kickstarter that you guys are getting ready to launch? And have you guys been using that 3 years to kind of, work on these items? How does that work?
Yeah, this is our first Kickstarter. They say the board game market is very oversaturated, and so this is our kind of attempt at having a voice in that market and kind of saturating it with, our ideas and our vibe. And that's why it's called the Millrat Pack. So yeah, this is our first Kickstarter, and this is our attempt to get on the map, basically.
And we're trying to do it a little different. Like if you look at our Kickstarter or I guess just like our videos, we're trying to make it more down to earth or even grassroots, as they call it, where we just kind of gain followers from friends, family, or people we've met or people who have played our game. So we're trying to focus on community more than anything, which has been going great. It's definitely harder to do, but we made a lot of friends doing it.
That's awesome. Have you guys kind of play tested some of these, I'm assuming, and you've recruited friends to give it a shot and gotten feedback? And what was that process like?
Yeah, it was mostly playtesting for the first 2 years. I feel like we played our games at least 200 or 300 times just to make sure they're good, they're working. There's no weird little thing that somebody can do and find a workaround. Nobody can break it. And then after the game's built, we have to test the art. And so we have to do it all over again. And then after the art, we have to write the rules and test the rules. And so we got to do it all over again. So yeah, very rigorous testing. And yeah, so through those testing events, we made some new friends who were making their own games or people who were just interested in our games. And then it was just friend after friend after friend. And now we have a lot of friends.
When you guys are doing your artwork, right? Are you guys doing that in-house? Are you guys working with artists? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. Adam actually, his fiance went to college with the artist. Oh my gosh, your wife now.
She's not my fiance anymore.
I'm so
Congratulations.
sorry.
That's so
Yeah,
great.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
got
congrats.
married.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell the story?
Sure, yeah. So our artist, her name is Abby Willett. She went to Mass Art, and my wife also went to Mass Art, and so they kind of knew each other. And we knew we wanted to work with someone close to us had a relationship with, and we wanted to stay, local with that kind of thing. And so we chose Abby because she has this fantastic, it's almost like this adolescent kind of papery, construction-y, papery vibe that she does. And it's something that Abby and I have loved. Abby's my fiance. Sorry, my wife, and Abby Willett is the artist. It's something that we've loved for a while, is her artwork. We have some prints that she made of me and my wife, with that same texture we have hanging in the house. So, yeah, we just knew that we wanted to work with her because we're in love with her stuff.
It's great to hear that you guys are working with a local friend of a friend or somebody keeping it kind of in the family, right? It's always nice to hear especially with these grassroots kind of studios that you guys really embrace it and you want to kind of help people get exposure and use their artwork, because I feel like a lot of times with larger companies it's very easy to go find somebody who just you just find a random illustrator to work with, and it's it's great, but that person
Yeah.
then has to copy there's somebody's artwork style or whatever it ends up being. And it's nice that you guys kind of embraced her artwork style as opposed to trying to pigeonhole something to follow what you guys wanted to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, all four games have different styles, different genres. They play differently, but we wanted to unite them with the vibe, the personality of the games, and the personality of the art. And so all four games the art is done by Abby Willett, but with different color palettes, slightly different vibes to match the story of the game. And what's interesting too about the art that she made for us is that we asked her to do all this stuff before we knew what any of the packaging would look like.
Mhm.
So all that packaging that you see, if you're looking at the Kickstarter, all the box art and all that stuff, the sleeve design, that's all stuff that we just had to create from her assets. And so I maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I know you're gonna ask.
No, you're good. You're good. I think that let's take a step back because I didn't even ask. Can you guys describe the 4 games? Tell me what they are
Sure.
and kind of why you guys decided to go with a multi-pack as opposed to just launching like a single game.
Yeah, I'll answer the part about why a multi-pack, and then Nick, if you wanna jump in
Yeah,
about each game.
sure.
But basically, it started with, Nick and I kinda bonded over this contest that we found on this website. I think it's called the Game Crafter.
Oh, I know the Game Crafter. That's the website where you can upload your artwork and they'll do like even a one-off game for you, right? Like
Yep.
it's yeah, cool, cool.
Yeah, and, we love the Game Crafter. I just don't remember if it was on that site or not,
I think
but
it was.
eh okay. It was this one-card design contest, and it was a game that had to just fit on one single poker-sized playing card, and the entries that we saw were, like, genius. I mean, Nick and I also entered into the contest. We bonded over that contest, but after we did that, we realized, like, there are hundreds and thousands of like amazingly cool ideas in the board game community, and a lot of them don't see the light of day, and so we're like, let's just try and do this ourselves. Let's create like a pack of games that are super light components. That's the kind of restriction that we set for ourselves. We wanted minimal cards, minimal components. We knew we wanted them all to have cards and maybe dice, maybe a piece or two here and there. And so that's how it started. We started fleshing out like tons of ideas. Like, all right, let's do like it could be like a booster pack, and in this booster pack you have games, which turns out somebody actually has done that recently.
Mhm.
It was just kickstarted. But then as we started developing the games and they started growing, we're like, all right, we need a little more design space to play with. And so they got like a little bit bigger and a little bit more fleshed out. And we landed on this pack of 4 games. And the reason we wanted to do this pack is kind of like what I said in the beginning is the market is oversaturated. So this is our kind of like little stamp on it. It's like, here's Millrat, here's our vibe. These are games that aren't just board games, but they're like uniquely Millrat games. So that's how we did it.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, and each game, like Adam was saying, is so unique, and we are trying to make it so each game represents a different genre of games. So
Okay.
this entire pack is like a take anywhere, plop it on your table. You're good for the entire game night. You don't really need anything else. They're quick to learn. Everybody usually likes them, and there's usually one specific game that everyone loves. So we have a deduction game which is called Someone's Y, and everyone's given a vowel, and somebody is the letter Y, and they're like trying to blend in because they're not a real vowel. And so, like, yeah, on your turn, you have to say one word, and then based on the vowels in that word, you can choose to take tokens, and that kind of gives clues as to who's who. And then you use those tokens to vote who you think Y is. A lot of fun, super easy. It takes like 15 minutes. And then we have a party game for all the people who love party games where it actually uses your camera roll on your cell phone, which doesn't sound too crazy. And we promise it's not that bad. But yeah, you randomly choose a picture on your phone, and then you have to use pinch to zoom to recreate something in that image that matches something on a card that your teammate is showing. And so you try to like give clues using like the eyeball of your cat to represent, I don't know, like something circular on the card.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, which is great. It's a hoot, and it's a lot more fun to, like, look back at your old photos and see, like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot I even went on that trip," or, like, you see someone else's photos, like, "Oh, who's that?" And
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know
and
you
not
had a
and not
dog.
to not to cut you off, what I've noticed about, the way that photos have changed since, like, everyone has a camera in their pocket now, right? As
Yeah.
opposed to where it was before where had to bring a camera somewhere, develop film, and put it into an album, and it was a much more, like, social experience.
Yes.
And now photos are almost posted just to be like, "Look at me." So it's nice
Yeah.
to have a different, like, take on that and have people, like, look at your pictures together as a community as opposed to just like, "Oh, here, I post everything up on Facebook or Instagram or whatever to, like, show off what I've been doing lately," you know?
Exactly, and they're random, so, like, even if it's a bad photo of you, too bad, people now have to look at it, or if it's, like, a screenshot of a recipe you found online, yeah, like, that's what you gotta use now.
Yeah,
So
it like
it's creative.
forces you to look back at your old memories and reuse those memories as clues and objects in the game, and you actually get to place your phone on the table, so your phone becomes the game piece as you're constructing these, like, scrapbook collages on the table.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super cool. I think it's probably my favorite game in the pack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So
And
you've
we
got Someone's Why, thank
you
you.
almost got it.
Almost got it, I was there. And then you've got, this
Scrapbook.
one is Scrapbook, and
Yep.
then you've got 2 more, right?
We got one that's called Footfalls, which is a racing game. Actually, it's like a strategy game. Was based off of backgammon. So you're basically moving a group of your pieces from one side of the board to the other, and you get special abilities on your turn based off of like different cards that are in a column that you get to choose, and then whatever you choose, the player after you also gets that ability. So it's kind of like I choose for you type genre game if you're like kind of familiar with that.
Mhm.
As you play, you get to build the board. So you're constructing this bridge of like, I almost want to say like squares, pieces, like pathways to like jump over or move around or slide diagonally or do whatever you can. So it's very strategic, very fun, 2 to 4 players. Also pretty quick, like 20, 30 minutes, depending on how long people take to take their turn. And yeah, the theme is you're a pack of rats trying to get to the other side of the bridge where like there was an abandoned picnic and there's a bunch of like animals
Nice.
eating all this extra food. So you're trying to get there first. So that's Footfalls. Then our last game is called Bad Eggs, which is a push your luck game. And the theme is you're all short order cooks and you're trying to make the biggest omelet you can. And so again, all very fun, like crazy, unique ideas. And in this one, like it's almost like craps, but with eggs. So like you bet on what die is going to be rolled, and then based off that outcome, puts you in an order, and then you flip over eggs based off your order. And the more egg tokens you flip over, the more points you get. But if you flip over too many bad tokens, like bad eggs, we call, then
Mhm.
you lose everything and you don't get
Yeah.
any points. So you got to be careful.
That's awesome. I love a good push your luck game, and it seems like all these are like half hour or less, which I
Yeah,
appreciate from a game standpoint because
exactly.
like my buddies all got together and played Twilight Imperium the other night, and I'm
Oh
like,
my
guys,
gosh.
it's like an
It's
all
too
day event.
much.
I don't
Yeah.
have that kind of time. I have a kiddo at home. I
Right.
got to get
Right.
home,
I
right?
got
So
chores to do.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that game is a little bit of a chore. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So I think it's nice to have these like smaller, quick games. And if nothing else,
Yeah.
if we wanted to have a big strategy game night where you're playing a couple hours, it's nice to have some warm up games, right? And that's
Yeah.
what these kind of have
Exactly.
the vibe of, where it's like you can pull one of these out. It's a half hour, it gets everybody talking and moving, kind of like
Hmm.
getting to know each other if it's like a newer game night,
Yes.
and then you could dive into the bigger like 4X strategy game right later that night or whatever. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And like if somebody doesn't like a strategy game, don't play that game. Somebody like the party game, go play the party game. Who cares? There's something for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I like the format of these, and I like the multi-pack, and I like they're all kind of the same footprint except for Bad Eggs, right? Bad Eggs is a little bigger.
Hmm.
And can you kind of tell me, like, was there concessions you guys had to make with your game in order to get them all to be relatively the same footprint? Like, did you have to make things bigger or smaller, or, did you have to like build these 4 games out and then design that kind of component to it? How did that work?
It's a good question. I mean, to start, we knew we wanted jumbo cards, is what they're called. Are they 3.75 inches, Adam, by
Yeah,
5.5?
jumbo cards, they're kinda like 2 index cards, maybe
Yeah.
a little bit smaller than, like, 2
Okay.
index cards next to each other. We
So like almost like 2 playing cards or 2 index cards kind of stacked on top.
Yeah,
They're a
Yeah.
little bit
Because
chunkier. Yeah.
they can create the board a lot of the times in our
Yep.
games.
exactly. So we kind of we knew we wanted games that involve cards, minimal pieces, maybe dice. And so we were like, all right, that is our design restriction. That's what we're gonna stick around. The games that we make have to stay within those limits, because we knew that we also wanted each box to be a similar size. And so that's what we stuck with. We found these jumbo cards. We said, all right, how can we make card games that use cards in different ways, but also like, for example, Footfalls. It's a card game, but it's also a board game. Like the cards are the board. In Bad Eggs, the cards are the board. Someone's Why and Scrapbook are a little bit more traditional. Like those are just card games.
Yeah.
But we also used components, like, for example, sorry, let me back up to Scrapbook. Like, it has a small footprint, but we're obsessed with games that have a small footprint, but can be expansive on
Hmm.
a table, and that can it's not just about the space that they take up. It's it's more about the headspace and the
Yeah.
conceptual space. So, for example, like Scrapbook, you have the only tokens you have in this game are 2 smiley face tokens to keep score, and you have 4 photo corner tokens. And with that, you place those on the table to confine the collage that you're creating on the table, and that can be as big as you want. And but the footprint is so small. And so that's kind of how we approach it. Is like, all right, how do we do minimal components but have these kind of like largely conceptual experiences?
Yeah, it almost feels like, I mean, I don't know, you guys are probably familiar with button shy games, the little small
Yes.
Mhm.
wallet
Wallet
size
size
games,
games.
right?
Yeah.
I love a buttons. I have so many button shy games. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Just because I
They're
like to have
great.
them, I throw them in my backpack, take them with me places, right? But they can get pretty big on the table once you start playing. And it's a similar
Exactly.
idea where
Right.
like nice little travel size box, right? Nice little travel size container, but you can, really spread out when you get it open. So it seems like you guys knew pretty early on that you wanted to do a box set. This was not like we came up with 4 games and we shoehorned them into a box set. It was like you guys kind of had an idea of, we want to do a multi-pack. This is it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's crucial to like the story of Millrat Pack. Like the way we market it and the way we built it, frankly, is we like playing multiple games at game night, and so we're going to create a pack that is perfect for game night, and where you can bust it out and you can play 2 to 4 games with your friends and family that are quick to learn, but also offer like pretty meaningful, fun, lasting experiences, you know?
it's a pack that you can bring to game night, bust out, do all the games if you want. You can do all 4 because they don't take that long, right? You can do all 4 if
Exactly.
you wanted to, right?
Exactly.
Which
Yeah,
is great.
and the player counts too, like the lowest player count is 2, the highest player count is 6, and I believe each game can be played with 4 players.
Yeah.
But every game, no matter the player count between 2 and 6, you can play at least 3 of the games during
Yeah.
game night.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys were getting ready to, start the Kickstarter out, right? You've done your play testing, you've tested your artwork out. Now you gotta start thinking about like production, right? And
Right.
that's kind of the scary part when it comes to
Yes.
doing a lot of this stuff, right? Do you guys have, I'm assuming you guys have something lined up for production. And did that kind of also drive your direction for the components and things that you have? Because like obviously cards are a little bit easier to have than like injection molded parts, right? So
Mhm.
is that where some of your restrictions came in also?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that we wanted the boxes to be smaller, and we knew we wanted them to fit in a sleeve because, like, I when I first pictured the sleeve of the Millrat Pack. By the way, for listeners who don't know, it's 4 games with 4 different boxes, and they're all housed in a sleeve.
Yeah,
And
it almost looks like a box set for a book, right? Like if you're
Yeah.
like a book
exactly.
box set. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
That's exactly what we modeled it after. Is I know it sounds so simple, but it's like I think of the Harry Potter box set that I got when I was a kid, and that's like what I was envisioning when we were making these games, because you have these like products like a board game bag,
Mhm.
and that you can bring to game night, and we were like, all right, no like casual gamer or like family gamer is gonna buy the board game bag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not gonna buy a $200 backpack to bring Monopoly, right? That's just not
Exactly.
happening.
It's
Yeah.
not happening.
So let's make a game night that is almost like it's in like a board game bag that you can slip into a backpack. And these games, like, I think the box is like less than a foot on each side. Like, it really is like a portable pack, and it sits pretty on the shelf.
Let's take a step toward like when you guys are getting ready to manufacture now, right? Because you've
Yes.
designed the games, right? And you're getting ready to go to manufacturing. Have you guys picked a manufacturer, talked to them about like what you need for MOQs? Like talk about the business side a little bit, because I'm very interested on how that works from a Kickstarter, because I've backed a lot of Kickstarters. I've never ran a Kickstarter, right?
Mhm.
So what does
Yeah.
that look like?
We've never done a Kickstarter, so we didn't know what we were doing, but we kind of took it one step at a time, and things thankfully fell into place. So we basically like emailed a bunch of manufacturers saying like, "Hey, these are all of our components, so all the jumbo cards, like some small tokens. We want to keep it small, like Adam said, and it also helped cut down on costs because again, it's our first time. We don't know if we can raise that much money, so we're trying to keep everything tiny, and it also kind of goes with the box set." And so we kind of like emailed a whole bunch of manufacturers and said like, what is a quote roughly? And then we got back a ton of quotes. We lined them all up and compared and contrast. And then we picked one that we really liked, along with like three others that we were like kind of lukewarm on. And then we asked like more detailed questions and like, what would it actually look like? Have you done something like this in the past? Because we're trying to do like a box set that almost looked like a Harry Potter thing. So it's like,
Yeah.
do you know how to do this? Do you know how they're all going to fit? And I'm very particular on boxes. I don't like when you're playing a game and you pick up the top of the box and you lift it up and the bottom just falls out and there's
Mhm.
no air suction. I need
Yep.
like some kind of like suction so it
You
doesn't
want
just
that
like
vacuum noise when
I
you
need
open
the
it up, right? It's
yes.
so nice. It's a
Yes.
satisfying noise. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
know. Speaking of that noise, sidetrack. Have you ever heard of I think it's called like Game Box fart contests?
No, but I will have to look it up and maybe put some sound effects in the background while we're
Yes.
talking about this for sure.
There's
Yeah.
like they have them at like conventions, like who can make the biggest like fart noise by like taking the top of a box and like pushing it down on the box so the air shoots out as fast as it can.
Yeah, yeah.
And they try to get it as loud as they can.
That's awesome. That's
But yeah,
awesome.
so I wanted that suction, and I think we got it. So a lot of those things basically came from talking to manufacturers and what they can and can't do for our pricing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot
Yeah,
of that comes down to tolerancing, right? Like, you have to be able to have a manufacturer who's able to hit those tolerances so that they can have that telescoping lid come down
exactly.
correctly, right? 'Cause,
Yeah.
you could have it be you have a lot of slop in there. It's
Mhm.
fine, but it's not gonna
Exactly.
be as nice of that pull.
Yeah,
So
and then it has to fit into the sleeve properly. So it's like that telescope has to work, and then those 4 boxes need to fit in at the exact portion, or else it's gonna be like wobbling.
Yeah. And we decided to go with the manufacturer that was like really eager to do this and was you know, giving us advice on like for example, we went with Hope's Manufacturing, and we told them the scope, and they built out a plan. We said what's the smallest size box we can get, and they built that out with the components. They built out the sleeve. They gave us all of the dimensions. And basically from there, I was able to start putting together the box art. And now we have this cute little Millrat pack. And
Yeah.
in the 4 games, they kind of like sit sideways like a book standing vertically.
Mhm.
And there's no like in the sleeve itself, there's no like little indent where you can pull the games out. And the reasoning is just because like we want people to handle it, you know?
yeah. Yeah.
Like we want people to like tap the game out. It's just part of the fun for me.
It's good that you guys were able to work with the manufacturer who's able to teach you guys. I'm assuming they gave you die lines to work with for artwork, and then like you guys
Mhm.
were able to lay things out the way you wanted to, right? And was it your first time laying out packaging? And can you talk about that experience at all?
Yeah. Yeah, for me it was the first time ever making packaging, and so what we did was Nick was tasked with looking at as many boxes he could find, and
Mhm.
seeing what are the similarities, what are the differences, and then what does Millrat want to do? Because we always do things a little strangely. And so yeah, basically they gave us those die lines, and I loaded loaded up into InDesign, and from there I took all of those art assets that Abby Willette gave to us, and we crafted these box arts. And it took a lot of back and forth, but I think they look cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. And then when you guys were working with this manufacturer, is your manufacturer stateside? Are they outside the states? Where is your manufacturer located?
They're in China.
They're in China. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of board game manufacturing.
Very hard to find in the
Yeah. We
US, right?
Yeah,
tried.
Especially
We
especially
tried.
with low MOQ. That's the hard part,
Right.
right? Is that
exactly.
it is in the US, but it's very, very hard to find people who are willing to do 1,000 pieces or less,
Yeah.
right?
It was
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
So when we were picking a place, I mean, we wanted to make sure that, you know, they were part of like the ethical toy program,
Mhm.
and making sure that they were using like sustainable materials and stuff like that, and that everything was kosher, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I
Yeah.
totally get that. It is really hard. It's like I've worked in toy and games for a long time, and 99% of what I work on is manufactured outside the US. It's kind of it is what it is in the toy and games industry. It's very hard to find something in the states. Was that another kind of barrier for you guys having to work with a manufacturer overseas? Was that like was there ever any difficulty or like late night meetings that you guys had to be on with those guys?
Not really.
Yeah, you know,
I'm
I'll be
okay.
honest, like it wasn't it wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
Like the hardest part is marketing and knowing,
Mhm.
and being in this unknown, like, do we have enough people to back this thing, and
Yeah. Is
and
it gonna
make it
fund?
a thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it going to
So
fund?
it's really not the manufacturing, it's the hard part for you guys. You guys figured that out pretty quick and like was easy to work with them. It becomes
Yeah.
now you're dealing with Facebook ads or
Exactly.
with Instagram ads or whatever kind
Right.
of ads you guys are running. 'Cause I'm assuming you guys are
Sure.
running ads. You have to be running
Yeah.
ads at some
Yeah.
point, right? Like
Exactly.
so that's like a whole other like you guys have so many hats right now
So
that you're wearing, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
It's a
you
whole
have your
nother monster.
designers, your marketers, you're
Marketers
doing
or
engineering, like it's all this
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's important to know too that like the reason we were able to do this is because Nick and I both have a background in video
Okay,
and
cool.
and now I have a background in marketing. I work in on a marketing team and I have been for like 2-3 years now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
have you been doing some of that like social media marketing at your current role? So you kind of like knew a little bit how to do the algorithms and things like that on Facebook
Exactly.
Marketplace, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I keep
Exactly.
saying marketplace. It's not marketplace. It's like, whatever kind of social media ads you guys are
Yeah.
running, right? Yeah.
And that's why I say it's easier than we thought because like we're blessed with having this skill set already.
Yeah.
But I can imagine if we didn't,
We wouldn't be able to do it.
that this would be insanely unapproachable. But thankfully, places like Hope's Manufacturing were super friendly, and
Mhm.
they
Helpful.
met us where we needed to go.
And I think it's important to note that if anybody is looking to do the same, when you reach out to a manufacturer, they're looking for your business. So they're going to do anything and everything that they can to make sure like you say yes to them. So while it is scary and it's daunting to go into a whole new field of something you have no idea how to do or what it's about or what any of the terms are, they're going to walk you through it, or you can just ask them any question that you're not sure, and they'll just like be like, "Oh yeah, it's X, Y, and Z. You just do it like this," because they want your business. So it, like Adam said, it was hard, but it wasn't like as hard as other things we're facing, like marketing or tariffs or any
Yeah.
little thing that can come and go.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of like why I asked about are you manufacturing in the States or outside of States because of tariff
Yeah,
situations. Like it's gonna be a
exactly.
whole other thing that you have to figure out into costing, right?
Yeah,
And all this other stuff. So I'm assuming probably most of your Kickstarter funding is probably gonna come from the US, right? So it's gonna be you have to figure out shipping, right? And
right,
all that other good
Exactly.
stuff.
right. And I
Are you
think
guys offering it outside of US? Or are you guys doing a US only Kickstarter out of curiosity?
You know,
we're
that's something that we need to
we're
figure
not
out.
sure.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's good to know. I mean, I think that
Like,
that's
we
something
would
just to
like
think about,
to.
right?
Yeah, like, we would like to. It's one more hat to wear. It's like now we gotta talk to
Right.
facilities in other countries, and then they charge differently, and then they have to look at our product in a different way, and apparently, if you have, like, a sand timer, they need to, like, deconstruct your entire box to make sure it's not, like, something that shouldn't be going across the border, or, like, certain dice need to be checked, so a whole 'nother thing to worry about.
Yeah.
So, as of now, we don't know.
Yeah. And are you guys planning on doing the distribution yourself? So you guys will get the big bulk pallet, I'm assuming, of goods to one of your guys' houses. I'm assuming you have a
Yeah.
garage full of goodies, right? And then are you guys planning on doing all that labeling and shipping yourself for now?
For now, we are. I think, depending on how the Kickstarter goes, how many people need Millrat packs, we may try and find like a fulfillment center in a different
Mhm.
country. People have told us about fulfillment centers in China,
Yeah.
and that can open you up to international shipping as well.
Mhm.
So we're going to look into that, but I think for now, 4 days before the campaign, it's US only.
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, who knows, right? If this thing takes off, then maybe you can open it up to other
Sure.
places. That'd be really
Yeah.
Exactly.
exciting, right?
Exactly, exactly.
It's good to have the realistic expectations of like, for now, let's get this thing off the ground first before we figure out how to do everything, right? It's better to get it moving because once it gets moving, it's easier to keep moving, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe a
Exactly.
game down the road that we make, we can kind of turn it into a bigger thing and have more detailed components, and we can ship it across the world, but for now, we're gonna stick to what
Yeah.
we have.
But I think the other thing to remember too is that the world is so big. And for now, this is the thing I have to tell myself. It's like for now, it's okay that we're just doing US for our first
Mhm.
project.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
and I don't
fine.
think that you need to be Hasbro right off the bat. You don't have to be
Right.
Spin Master right off the bat. It's not going to happen. Like you want to start with something, show that you guys can do it, right? And as it was with most Kickstarters, I always look to see what they've made in the past.
Mhm.
So if you have a successful Kickstarter, it's easier to have a second one, right? Because you've had the experience, you had the knowledge, you've built it out. People can see that you deliver on what you've done in your first Kickstarter. So
Mhm.
definitely better to get it off the ground and get moving. And I'm really excited to see like how this goes for you guys because it's a
Yeah.
really cool 4-pack. And I think
Thank you.
Thanks.
something that I haven't seen before on a Kickstarter.
I was gonna ask you actually, with your packaging background, like, what is your opinion or I guess maybe like first thoughts when you first see like our pack and the 4 games, like like from your personal
Expertise.
professional
Yeah, as a
expertise. I
packaging
would
guy,
love to
yeah.
hear it. Yeah.
No, I think it's great. I immediately got the idea that, like, it's supposed to look like a set of books. Like, I got, like,
Hmm.
that immediate, and I think that it just like you said, from a transportation standpoint or from, like, a bringing it to a friend's house standpoint, it's not huge. It's a nice little set, and you can bring it anywhere you want to. I think from a packaging standpoint, it's great. I love that you guys are doing, like, setup boxes for each of these because a lot of times people sometimes cheap out and they'll do, like, tuck boxes for smaller games to start. So it's nice to have that, like a nice rigid box.
Hmm.
And I'm glad that you have the suction noise.
Yes.
That's great to have too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, like, for it being your guys' first time doing this, I would not have guessed that. I think that you guys
Okay.
it came out very professional and amazing looking, actually.
Thank
Appreciate that.
you.
Thank
We
you.
fooled you.
You fool yeah, I
We
had no
gotcha.
clue. I had no
We
clue. I thought
gotcha.
that you guys had been, like, doing that's why I asked, because 'cause I'm like, I thought you guys had been
Yeah.
doing packaging for a while. This looks
No,
great.
we have no idea. And I feel like this is like now like where Kickstarter is and like crowdfunding is going. It's like the threshold is so high. Like
It is,
even
yeah.
if it's your first thing, like you better be ready some like for
Yeah.
whatever reson, everybody keeps pushing the bar up and up.
No,
That's
I
a great
totally agree.
point.
It's hard because, like, there's a lot of people making, like, Kickstarters and stuff. When I went to PAX Unplugged, I got to chat with the current CEO of Kickstarter, and he's pushing so hard right now for games because the games do the best on
Yeah.
Kickstarter's website, right? You can try to kickstart your band, you can try to kickstart your recipe book or whatever, and, like, it's doable, but people want something physical at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
They want,
Mhm.
like, a thing. It's a pre-order system. Even as much as it's
Yes.
not, it is a pre-order
Yes.
system, right?
Exactly.
So they're expecting, professional quality. And like I said, this looks great. And I love the way that you guys kept to at least two of your dimensions are always the same, right? You have some variable depth in some of your games, but
Mhm.
two of your dimensions are always the same. It makes it really feel like a cohesive set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I appreciate that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And something I do want to bring up is I listened to your podcast episode with Terry at Buffalo
Over at
Games.
Buffalo Games. Yeah.
And he said something that actually, like, really stuck with me, really opened up my eyes, and I think he was talking about how he's designing packaging that's just gonna end up in a landfill,
That's
Yeah.
so
right?
sad.
He's
It's
making
something that
pretty
I deal with
trash.
every day. It
Oh, that's
sucks.
so sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, he said, like, pretty trash or beautiful,
Mhm.
something like
Yeah.
that, and I just thought that was, like, such a unique and genius way to think about it, but then it made me think about, like, what are we designing with the Millrat Pack, with the Millrat Pack sleeve, and I think that's the difference with, like, not like a Rubik's Cube that comes in, like, a plastic, encasing. That's the difference with board games is, like, the board has to look beautiful, and it has to look pretty on a shelf, not just at the market, but at your house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because board game packaging is product, basically, right? Like, it's one
Yeah.
of those things where you're keeping it you have to think about size because someone has to keep it on their shelf. You have to think about, like, I always think of, like, is it gonna fit in a Kallax or
Yeah.
from IKEA, right?
IKEA.
The
Yep.
shelving unit there
Square
that they
one. Yep.
yeah, the square one. That's always my frame of reference whenever I try to make something is, like, a lot of board gamers buy those to put their games in, so it's, like,
Yeah.
try to keep it inside that size, right? And I think to your point, like, what you guys have for Millrat is, you guys don't have windows, you don't have plastic windows in your packaging. You don't
Right.
have, I'm assuming you guys don't have, like, blister trays inside your packaging, right? A lot of it seems to be like you've thought about keeping that plastic load a little bit lighter, which is,
Mhm.
something I appreciate when I get a board game.
Yeah, you open it up and it's one piece of cardboard, I believe, with like an indent, and then everything is in a plastic bag in that
Yeah,
indent, and
Yeah.
then
yeah,
the cards are just sitting on top.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's nice to have those resealable poly bags because, like, you want to
Yeah,
have that because otherwise your components go everywhere, right?
exactly.
exactly.
Whenever I buy a Kickstarter, if it's one of two things happens. I either sleeve all the cards immediately and have to remake my inserts because as a packaging guy, I have to make it so the sleeved cards fit in the box, which is,
Yeah.
like, my biggest pet peeve. Or I just have to go out and buy, like, a bunch of those little. I swear, I think people on Amazon think I'm a drug lord because I buy so many of those little tiny poly bags for the components to keep them all separated.
You've been flagged somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere I'm getting flagged as, like, FBI's looking into me.
Yeah.
It's nice that you guys provide that for people because that is something that you could have not done, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back to like what Adam was saying. It's like this is like some kind of like thing that you can display. There aren't really many like products now that I kind of like look around my room. Like there really isn't much that's still in the box, and like the box looks
Exactly.
nice. It's what a weird
Board games are
thing.
unique in that way, where
I
it
never even
really
thought of
is
that.
the box that you take home is the box that you're also displaying.
All right, guys. So, like, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you guys being on. I think that there's a really interesting way to talk about people who have never done packaging before, but made things that look fantastic. So, you guys have done a great job.
Thank you.
Your Kickstarter is going to be live when this is live. So, how do people find you? And, what are you guys hoping to do next?
Yeah, you can find us on Kickstarter.com. Just look up Millrat Pack or Millrat Studio. And if you want to follow us on our Instagram, that's where a lot of our audience is. We're posting all about how to play the games. We like to share photos of us doing play tests and developing new games. And our next thing no, I can't announce any next thing.
No,
No,
I threw that at you guys. You got to get through this one first, right? Like,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
get through Kickstarter first. Yeah.
But I will say that Nick and I are working on a push your luck deck building game that's a lot of fun. I can't wait to get it out in the world.
Yeah, we plan to keep making games. We plan to hopefully make other people's games. We work with a lot of other designers and playtesters, and they are running into issues of like they pitch to people and like nothing really happens, and they got great games. So like if this is a success, and hopefully it is, then we could take their games and help them publish it and give them money back
Yeah.
and let their game flourish.
Actually, that idea, I forgot to talk about that. That's important to the packaging as well. Like when we say packaging, like the marketing of it too is like the Millrat Pack. If this is successful and does well, this is also like a Trojan horse for us to package other people's games or other smaller games that we create under the Millrat brand, you know? It's because there's like these, what I was saying in the beginning, there's thousands of these amazing games that designers that we know that we're friends with make, and they just sit on shelves that they never touch them again because no publisher wanted them.
Yeah.
And this is our way of being like, no, like these deserve to see the light of day. So
Yeah.
hopefully down the line,
We can
we'll
do
be
that.
able to do that.
Yeah, for people.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that you guys have a really good format here, and I love the box set. It really reminds me, now kind of thinking about it more, kind of reminds me of like Jackbox party games, right? Where
Yes.
you've got like the
Exactly.
multi-pack. They all are like kind of the same artwork style, but they're all different, right?
Yeah.
And I think that format is something that I haven't seen, is something that could be hopefully really successful for you guys and really successful in the future if you do another multi-pack. I'd love to see like Millrat Pack 2. I want
Yeah.
like I want
Yeah.
number 2, you know?
That's my
So,
dream too.
yeah.
I agree.
It's too
Thank
much
you so
work.
much. And yeah, everybody says like it's like Jackbox, but like
Yeah.
board games, and
Great.
like
Yeah.
Love
that's
that.
also what we modeled it after too.
Right.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. I appreciate you guys chatting and like learning all about your process. I'll be sure to put like all your links in the show notes. So if people want to check you guys out, they'll be able to find you really easy. And I wish you guys the best of luck on your Kickstarter.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
AJ.
Thank you
We
for having us.
Yeah.
we love packaging.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming back to I Bleeping Love Packaging. It's been a hot minute since I recorded an episode, and I'm trying to get another large chunk of episodes ready to go so I can start releasing them. Probably going to do them every other week as opposed to every week, just so I can make sure that the quality stays where it needs to be for I Bleeping Love Packaging. Anyways, really excited that I had Adam and Nick on. Their Kickstarter is live right now. Today is, it's going to be middle of July when this comes out. So make sure that you guys check out their Kickstarter. It's Millrat Pack. It's awesome. I've backed it. Can't wait for it to show up. And if you guys, want to reach out to them, follow them on Instagram. All their information is going to be in the show notes down below. If you guys want to be on I Bleeping Love Packaging, as always, reach out to me at ibleepinglovepackaging@gmail.com. And today's code word, because you guys are, want to get stickers, today's code word is Millrat Pack, right? Put Millrat Pack in the comments, and if you show that you backed the Kickstarter, send me a message. I want to know. I want to make sure that they know that you came from the I Bleep and Love Packaging family. And yeah, please go support them. I would really appreciate it. Thanks.